Hi, I'm Jocelyn Clark, the international editor of the BMJ, and it was my pleasure to recently chair a roundtable at the BMJ Research Forum that created a dialogue about best practices for equitable global health partnerships to maximize research impact. We had an outstanding panel of experts from across the world, and it created a really rich discussion. There were two main takeaways for me. One, that there are daily questions that those of us involved in research should be asking ourselves. When we're interacting with research partnerships, are we creating the most respectful relationships that we can? Who are we excluding when we're developing our research projects and communicating about the research projects? Are we co-producing the agenda from the get-go? And the second main takeaway for me was just simply how many entities exist in the global health research landscape. There's a role for all of us to play, whether we're editors, funders, health institutions, members of civil society, research organizations, and research participants. Together, we can share and need to share the mission to advance equitable research partnerships, and I hope there was a lot of discussion, learnings, and lessons from the roundtable that will help everyone involved in this landscape to move that agenda forward.
So I'll share in wrapping up today, I think the key learning points for me from my experience and from the discussion today, that is one way to support equity and best practices in research is to ensure rich engagement from the population of interest, engaging them either as part of steering groups, advisory boards, or even co-authors on publications and related outputs. Overall, the research findings shouldn't just be left, they should be sort of implemented, and supportive policies to sort of sustain this in the long term should be formulated. Thank you.
Well, firstly, I really enjoyed the discussion today and the opportunity to meet so many interesting people around the world engaged in this topic. I guess for me, what I'm taking home is the fact that the challenges we face are actually very common to us all, whatever our situations and wherever we're working. And it's been really helpful to hear some really concrete examples of great initiatives. And I will certainly be following these up. And I guess going forward, what more can we do? Well, I think providing opportunity to share examples, policies, best practice even more widely would be really valuable. Thank you.
I think this has been a very fascinating conversation. So my key learning really is no matter which part of the world you are, I think in terms of research, we all face challenges in different contexts. But what gives me comfort is that these challenges actually can be solved no matter how hard they are. I think we just need to continue these kinds of conversations, giving more platforms for exchanges in lessons learned, best practices, even innovations, even sharing of challenges and how we perceive all this. And I think those spaces would give voices to different stakeholders and to different researchers. And I think I'm still hopeful that even the very difficult challenges will find a solution together. Thank you.
It was a wonderful conversation today. I really loved it. And although my colleagues have already mentioned that challenges are very common, I think just the fact that BMJ as a publisher, a global health publisher, is doing this kind of discussion means that we are going on the right step for equity, and I think more and more people will notice this. The funders also are actually putting in questions on, how is this research program going to be governed? How is there authorship policies, etc., which will define equity, or how will you measure equity in the research that you do? So I think we are on the right track. The learning from this particular session is, of course, challenges are same, but then we also have to be innovative about the solution, like crowdsourcing for funding, especially for pilot research where there may not be too many funders, or mentorship when you come to clinical trials in, say, Vietnam, for instance. And then Meredith also talked about bureaucracy and how they're sort of navigating that. I think every country is doing their sort of possible bits, but it's nice to have discussions like this where we can get some solutions also from colleagues. So that's my learning for today.
Thank you for this opportunity to join you and to listen to this interesting discussion you just had, all of you. And on behalf of Essence, its agencies, and of course TDR, WHO, where I work, this was really extremely important and helpful for us to be part of. So again, huge thank you for the panelists and organizing this important discussion. So one couple of things. Obviously, it's clear that there's so much going on. All of the panelists have indicated the huge amount of work done in this area in terms of equitable partnerships, improved management of research, improved relations and partnerships between different stakeholders involved, really with the goal of increasing impact and ensuring equity. So really pleased to hear that. A couple of other things that also stuck with me were the need for increased and improved messaging, awareness, advocacy, and working with funding agencies who do set some of the policies and practices when it comes to funding research or knowledge creation or use of evidence that comes out of that. So we should continue work in this direction. There's probably not enough yet done in terms of how these can actually be improved. And it's important to also think that it's a myth that funding agencies and those who are applying or working with them are in different kind of camps. That myth should also be kind of busted, and through this kind of continued dialogue that we should continue to have, and at the end of the day, make sure that all of our goals are aligned. So really looking forward to some of the next steps and engaging with next steps with funding agencies and with some of the initiatives that are being done by all of you, and continue working in this area with really the goal of improving impact of global health research to improve health and lives of people globally. So thank you again. I'll stop here, and I hope to meet you very soon again.